What's happening, everyone? My name is Pardon My Presence, and you are listening to the Pardon My Presence YouTube channel, a channel where I address common issues from a unique point of view. It's also a place where I pardon a space for critical thought and analysis in today's society, where well-informed, logical assessments are slowly becoming taboo. All right, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the debate with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And if you're like me, you would have had your popcorn out, you would have cleared your schedule, sit by the TV, waiting to hear some jokes, ready to crack some jokes, yell at the TV, cuss up and down, cry, talk shit with your friends, send some messages on Twitter and social media, and just talk a whole bunch of shit and laugh. And none of that happened. It was real disappointing, to say the least. And what I saw, because at some point I fell asleep because I was so disappointed and I was so disengaged. But from what I saw and what people were speaking about, or what people were saying about the debate afterwards, is the fact that it was really just an exercise of seeing how annoying someone could be and how disruptive someone could be, to the point where they can make their opponent lose their cool and say off-the-cuff remarks, make some gaffes, and say things that will put them in the hot seat. And if you look at what happened throughout the debate, Donald Trump was semi-successful in that, because there's many times that Joe Biden lost his cool and he told Donald Trump to shut up. He called Donald Trump a clown. He called Donald Trump an idiot. And you gotta ask yourself, because there was a point in the debate where Joe Biden said, "This is not presidential-like. This is not the behavior of someone who was president." And while that may be true, because he's speaking about Trump, but then look what you're doing, Joe Biden, yourself. Those comments are not presidential either. That behavior of yours was not presidential either. And this goes back to the whole issue with Republicans and Democrats, and why Donald Trump won in 2016, an initial election, and why he might win again in the subsequent election as the incumbent. Democrats fail to see or fail to identify their weakness. And their weakness boils down to this simple thing. The Democrats have an image problem. They don't understand how they come off. They come off as holier than thou. They come off as condescending. They really believe that they have some type of higher consciousness level. They believe that they have some type of higher moral compass or some higher moral ground from which they operate. And they don't. They're human beings just like Republicans are, just like anyone else who's in the middle are. They are humans, which means they lie like everybody else. They cheat on their spouse like everybody else. They are susceptible to receiving bribes like everybody else. They commit crimes like everybody else. They lie to get votes like everybody else. They are no different. But yet, they talk to you like if they know what's right. They talk to you like they're going to put you on the proper path and just listen to them and give up all your rights so that they will take care of you in the way that they know that they can and that they should. They act like if they are the ones who know the way. And this is why Donald Trump was successful in 2016, because the Democrats failed to understand that they need to be more relatable to the American public. And Joe Biden is not that person, because everyone already knows that Joe Biden makes a lot of gaffes. Everybody knows that Joe Biden is responsible for the 94 crime bill, which put a lot of black people in jail. Joe Biden has already said that you're not black if you don't vote for Democrats. Joe Biden's made a lot of off-color comments. But yet, he feels he's the best candidate for black people. The best candidate for people of color. The best candidate for America. Why? What makes him the greatest candidate ever? And this is what I think people need to understand, and need to understand this quickly. No one's going to resonate with a Democrat as long as Democrats keep avoiding their own shortcomings in this election. And there's one point that people only looked at one side, and that's the point where the moderator, I'm going to get to the moderator too, but there's a point where the moderator and Joe Biden was egging on Trump to denounce white supremacist groups. And they particularly mentioned the Proud Boys. I'm not sure why they mentioned the Proud Boys in particular, but they did. And this is interesting because Trump said stand back or stand down and stand by, which is a dumbass comment to make, right? And I'm pretty sure he spoke to his group pretty much the way how that group wants to be spoken to, right? But he makes that comment, but then he hits it back to Joe Biden and say, Joe Biden, are you going to denounce Antifa and their group? And what does Joe Biden say? There is no Antifa. Antifa is an idea, it's not an organization. We've all seen Black Lives Matter. And when I say Black Lives Matter, I'm referring to the organization of white people. Because let's be real, Black Lives Matter is not really a black organization. Because when I look at those images in Minnesota, in Portland, in LA, I'm seeing white people defacing businesses, defacing public property. I'm seeing white people burning down neighborhoods, black businesses, burning down businesses where black people are employed, where black people need to get their groceries. Those buildings are getting burned down. By who? It's not by the Proud Boys. It's not by white supremacists, although, let's be real, it might be white supremacists working in Antifa. Because at the end of the day, what does burning down a business that employs me as a black person, what does that do? That doesn't represent me as a black man. I don't know any black person who would say, let me burn down one of the few establishments that actually support me, that help me to feed my family. Let me burn down the only business where I could get groceries. Let me burn down an African restaurant. Let me burn down a soul food restaurant. Why would I do that? And you have to ask yourself, there's people on both sides who are causing destruction, but what we saw on the news, what we saw online and social media and all that footage that we saw, that's Antifa. There's no doubt about that. So why can't Joe Biden say the same? You know what? Yes, I denounce anybody on any side burning down private buildings. He could have said the exact same thing too, but he didn't. He sidestepped it. And again, this is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. And people see through all of that. But let's get to the moderator, the beta male of the whole event. Explain to me why he was there. To be honest, and I think this might be the better option to do, they should probably put a black woman as the moderator, because number one, Joe Biden's not going to talk over a black woman because he knows how that's going to look. And Donald Trump's not going to talk over a black woman because the black woman will put Donald Trump in his place. So they should probably get a black woman next time as a moderator and get those two guys in line. Because this guy, whoever his name is, Charles Wilson or whatever, Christopher Wallace, Chris Wallace. Imagine he has Biggie's name, but he has no gangster in him like Biggie. He's apologizing to Trump, although Trump was running the whole show and interrupting him and not even listening to him, but he's apologizing to Donald Trump. He's saying on top of things to make them feel better about the questions that he's asking, and he wants to reword questions so that the candidates won't feel as pressured when he's asking the questions. What kind of moderator is that? Just ask the damn question and then cut them off when they're saying the wrong thing, or cut them off when they're over their time. Why did he let the shit show go on? I have no idea. What was the point of him being the moderator? How much money was he paid to moderate? Or better yet, how much money was he paid not to do his job? Because that's what he didn't do. He didn't do his job. But again, let's put all that aside for a second now, because fast forward to now, Donald Trump gets COVID-19. His wife, Melania, gets COVID-19. A few of his aides get COVID-19. Then you have House Representative, the secretary, press secretary gets COVID-19. All these people getting COVID-19. But Donald Trump, after a few days, he's ready to go. He's doing parades outside of the hospital. He's having a fun time with COVID. He's taking all the medication from all the companies that he has taken. How interesting is that? What happened to the quarantine? I thought when you have COVID, you're supposed to be at least quarantined for 14 plus days. This guy is in a armored vehicle with Secret Service all around. I'm sure he's being driven by somebody, right? I'm sure he has armed personnel beside him, right? I thought he had COVID. He's not supposed to be near anybody. But again, since he's had COVID, he's getting all the support from the public. People who were against him are now being sympathetic, right? Public opinion has changed. Now we're all rooting for the president. We're all rooting for him. He's going to come out of this a stronger, a better, a more relatable president. Pretty much took the wind out of the sails of the Democrats. Was this part of the political plan? I don't know. But as a recommendation, there's a great movie called Wag the Dog. I believe Dustin Hoffman's in it, and if I'm not mistaken, Robert De Niro's in it as well too, and Anne Heche is in it. You should probably check that out and understand that this could possibly be a ploy to sway public opinion and to kill the momentum of the Democrats. And if that is the case and he really doesn't have COVID, then this is a master plan. And all I can say is what I said amongst my colleagues before 8 months ago was that Donald Trump is going to win the election again. The reason for that is because the Democrats focused so much on Trump that they failed to cultivate a proper alternative for people to vote for. Because what people need to realize is that we don't vote against someone, we vote for someone. And while so many people, die-hard fans of Trump, voted for him, no one wanted to vote for Hillary Clinton. They didn't believe that voting for the lesser of evil is the best vote to have. They didn't believe that you're to hate Trump so much that you're going to vote for somebody else. That's not how people's vote works. They vote for who they believe in. And right now, there's just more people who believe in Trump. And I'm not a Trump supporter, but I understand the psyche of someone who would vote for Trump and who supports Trump. And right now, Trump has more supporters, more followers, more devout people to him than Clinton ever had and Joe Biden has now. And this is the failure of the Democrats. They failed to connect with people, to get people on their side regardless, to get people to support them devotedly, and to make people feel good about voting for them. Because right now, this whole idea that we got to get Trump out, so we're going to vote for somebody that we don't really believe in, but he's the only alternative, that is not convincing enough. You're going to find people either sitting out or coming out to vote for Trump. And that's how I see it. That's my take. Unfortunately, that's how I see things rolling. And maybe having Trump in the office for another 4 years is the best. I don't know, but this point should not be taken for granted. Regardless of who's in power, that person is not obligated to change your life. The only person who's responsible for changing your circumstances is you. So don't mind who's in the office. Don't mind who's writing the bills. Don't mind who's creating all of these initiatives that may or may not even trickle down to your household. Focus on what you can do. How can you become better? How can you put yourself in a position where you can feed your family, how you can take care of your children, how you can promote the well-being of everybody in your family? Because at the end of the day, it's your life, your family, your offspring. What are you going to do to make your life better? Because not the politicians that's going to do that for you. It's you. So get yourself ready. Study. Learn a new skill. Do what you gotta do. Believe in yourself. Because the least thing you should be worrying about is what someone else is going to do for you. Because most people only do things for themselves. Right? And politicians will do anything for your vote. So keep that in mind. Until next time, pardon my presence. It's your life. You do for yourself because no one else will. Peace.